high school ba yun? Di ba? Philippine PSHS. Maybe you can share with us what that means. We also have Maricel joining us from Mabalacat City. Pag SDO, tama, DepEd. School Supervision Office of Mabalacat City. We also have Ronalisa joining in. Sino pa nakikita mo, Davi?
Oh, we have here Alessia from Baguio City. Tapos, Delina naman from Davao City. From dun sa pinaka-north, tapos papunta sa Mindanao meron. Wow.
Si Gloria din from DOH. Quezon Memorial Medical Center yata itong QMMC. Delina also said, good afternoon. Yan. So if you have colleagues, friends, even classmates, we know that there are some of you who are students who are joining us this afternoon. Let them know that we still have room here on Zoom. They can just parang send them the registration link and tell them that they can still enter.
Yes.
We have our regular attendees from NJCP. Hi, John. So we always ask this, Daffy. Dahil parang every time, we always see first-timers din.
Yeah, yun din.
Sige nga, can you type in one in the chat box if it's your first time joining us? Pero kung since January or you've attended previous PW webinars, can you type in 2? Para
so that's natin. 1 if first-timer, tapos 2 if you've been with us since January.
Yan. Or kung like anytime, any P-webinar, nasalihan nyo na.
Yes.
So madami yung mga nauna, no? 1 sila. Sina Cheryl, Michelle, Catherine.
Wow. Meron din dito mga nag-2. Pero parang kukunti mo, mas madami yung 1.
Oo, madami yung nag-first time. Si Sheila parang ang dami na niyang na-attendan kasi ang daming tunong nilagay niya.
May nakita nga ako kanina 4, 7.
Oo. Siguro si RG, pang 4th na niya to.
Si Alessia, lagi ko din siya nakikita.
Yan. So for those joining us, ang pinag-uusapan lang namin ngayon is if it's your first time, type 1. Or if it's your second time or madaming P-webinars na yung na-attendan nyo, please type in 2 in the chat.
Yes. We have here Andrea, 2 na daw. Tapos since last year pa siya umattend. Wow!
Wow! Si Alessia din. Tama ba si Alessia yung...
Oo, si Alessia yung nakita ko kanina.
Si Chona Viv, 7th time na niya. So parang since January, she was already able to attend. Yan. Ayun. Hala ko nag-raise ng hand si Rhea. Okay, so it's already 3:02. Maybe we'll just give you a few seconds to settle down before we start this afternoon session.
Oh, we have here din pala, Gabi, since pandemic daw, from UNP Guidance Office. Wow!
Wow! University of Northern Philippines yun, di ba?
Oh!
Wow!
Hindi ko alam yung mga acronyms eh.
Oh, based lang siya din sa alam ko, pero kung may ibang UNP, please correct us if that's wrong. Yan. Grabe si Alan Magnus since birth. Nauna ka pa sa amin siguro.
Oh, University of Northern Philippines nga.
Hi Marifel, thank you so much for attending this app. Yan, so I guess we can already start. So again, good afternoon everyone and thank you for joining us this Wednesday for another set, diba? Another batch of free webinars from Positive Workplaces. And this month, we are discussing the Positive Leaders Toolkit, the power of positive connections and communications. So again, I'm Gabby Liamson. For those of you joining us for the first time, I'm Gabby and I'm the Learning and Development Officer of Positive Workplaces. Together with me this afternoon is Joyce. our Learning and Development Associate, and of course, our lovely co-host this afternoon. Go,
Hi,
Daphne!
so I'm Daffy. I am a training and development intern of Batch 13 from Positive Workplaces.
But
13
14 ka na, di ba? 13 ba?
pala.
Ay, 13
Grabe,
pala.
hindi ko ako papaalisin.
Excited.
Intern ako
But,
hanggang next batch.
hindi ka na umalis. Ayan.
Oh,
Thank you, thank you. So, for those of us who are joining us for the first time, we're Positive Workplaces, and our mission is that we co-create cultures that enhance the well-being of the Filipino workforce. And we are able to create those cultures through what we call the positivity ripples. And it all starts with leading the self. That's why we have programs like this, yung free webinars natin. We also have public courses that we offer and other in-house courses so that you will be able to gain skills and knowledge on positive psychology, organizational well-being, or organizational development, and leadership. So that in that way, whatever you learn and whatever attitudes you can get from those courses, you are able to use them to lead others, lead cultures, and ultimately create those positive workplaces. So we just have a few reminders before starting, and Dappy will let us know what are those.
okay, further reminders before we start our webinar. Have another device with you kasi we'll be setting links for interactions like Pigeonhole for the Q&A and Mentimeter for an activity para ready kayong makapag-participate. Don't worry if you don't have another device naman, we'll be sending the links in the chat box kaya it's totally okay if the device you're using is the same device you're using for the webinar. Then have a paper and pen ready to take notes of what you learned sa ating discussion kasi for sure, marami kayong matututunan today and pwede natin itong mababalikan by taking notes. Then, we also encourage engagement in the chat, but also please be reminded lang din to be respectful to everyone. Okay? Now, for the link of the evaluation form, it will be given at the end of the webinar for those in the Zoom room only. So make sure to stay until the end to be able to get your e-certificate. Also, in filling up the evaluation form, tandaan po natin ang acronym na TEN, which stands for title, email, and name. Make sure na yung title is the same ng sa webinar for today. Tapos yung email should also be working because that is where we'll be sending your e-certificates. And lastly, make sure your full name is spelled correctly since your e-certificates are automatically generated. Some last reminders, if you have any concerns about evaluations or certificates, you may email us at engage@positiveworkplaces.org. We will only entertain inquiries up to 1 week after the event. Please be kind to Joyce kasi she's the one sending the e-certificates and answering your inquiries. And when sending your inquiries in general, please be kind to others lang din.
Yeah, and thank you so much, Daffy, for those reminders. And I guess we're ready to start. Can you type in 3 in the chat box if you're now ready to proceed with our topic this afternoon? Yan. So, Daffy, are we
Ready
seeing?
na sila.
Okay. So, I think we're all ready. So, this afternoon or for the whole month of March, we are discussing the Positive Leaders Toolkit, the power of positive connections and communications. So we saw in the different evaluation forms that you answered before na you really wanted to know how to create positive connections or relationships inside your own organizations. That's why we invited different experts on those who can talk about how do we create those positive connections and communications in the workplace. And this afternoon, we have a very special resource speaker joining us. And she is none other than Jen Horn, tagapagpadaloy, coach, learning designer, and writer at Pagbubuo. She is also a co-creator at Ugnayan Cards. She is also the chapter lead of Culture First Manila. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give Jen a warm P-webinar welcome this afternoon. Hi, Jen. Good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon. Hello, everyone. So if I could just grab share, no,
Yeah.
Gabby. Yan, sige. So, hello. Nakikita niyo ba yung screen? Sorry.
Yes, you can see your screen.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, hello and thank you for having me first and foremost. So, bago tayo magsimula, wait, parang nawawala yung screen. Ayan. Bago tayo magsimula, gusto ko lang din malaman sana who's in the room, right? So if I can just also ask Gabby's support to put the Menti link in the chat. So I wanted to know which city are you joining us from? Yan. So if everyone can just log in to Menti. So very interactive po yung session natin ngayong hapon. So masusulit po natin yung paggamit ng Menti. So ito warm up pa lang tayo, no, to with some initial questions para malaman natin kung saan nanggagaling yung mga kasamahan natin dito sa Zoom room natin or sa YouTube kung doon kayo nagjo-join. Ayan. Wow, may London. Wow, okay. And it's nice to see, no, na malaki din yung representation from different cities. Hindi lang siya Manila, hindi lang siya NCR, no? So yan, marami tayo from all over. Yan, sige. Baka we'll just give it a few more seconds para makita natin kung saan nanggagaling yung karamihan ng mga kasama natin ngayon. So marami ding Davao, Iloilo, Malolos. Okay. Sige, baka pwede na ako mag-proceed sa next question. What's your current role in your organization? So gusto ko lang sana malaman kung, yeah, are you in the finance department, HR, admin, marketing? Yes, may malaking HR. I guess, I feel like positive workplaces, ewan ko Gabi, tama ba? Madalas HR din talaga yung nadodraw nyo na participants?
Madaming HR.
Yeah. Oh, HR, admin, guidance counselor, faculty. Oh, may students din tayo na nagjo-join. Yan, okay. Sige. So mukhang marami din talagang students, no? Okay. So my next question then is, I will be moving to the next question na guys, ha? Ayan. So current level in your organization. So if you're a student or if you're currently unemployed, you can just answer NA. But I also wanted to see kung, anong mga parts ng organization din yung nandito sa room. Are you a team member? Are you a mid-level manager? Are you an owner or senior executive? Or individual contributor or staff member. Yan, siguro I'll give you 20 more seconds to respond to this question. Yan, meron na tayong 128, 29. So marami po tayo sa Zoom room, no? So baka warm up lang din to kasi mamaya marami pa tayong questions for reflection and mahalaga po yung nakukuha namin yung participation ninyo because that will really shape yung discussion natin. So if you haven't logged on to Menti yet, I hope you can log on now. Ayan, yan po yung ating yan, you can use the Menti code 7991-3417. Ayan. Oops. Okay, so yeah, it looks like karamihan ay staff members so far. But we also do have some people who are managers of teams or mid-level managers, no? Yan. Okay lang, that's how we're gonna shape this conversation, no? Para applicable siya sa lahat tayo makaka-relate. Pero magandang malaman natin kung sino-sino yung mga nasa kasama natin dito sa conversation natin. Okay, so since somehow nakapagpakilala na rin kayo sa akin through this Menti, kasi hindi natin makuha lahat, no? Kasi 700 plus na yung nasa room. At least we're getting this gauge. I also wanted to introduce myself. So yan, ako si Jen. You can find me on Instagram at Pagbubuo. At I exist to cultivate connection with the self, others, and the world, to unlock courageous and joyful flow towards a more mindful, authentically expressed life. So ano ba ibig sabihin na yan? So connection talaga sobrang important value yun para sa akin. Kaya natutuwa din ako nung na-invite din ako ng Positive Workplaces to give this talk kasi nga I think it's such an essential part for me personally, but also in my connecting with other people and the natural world as well. And sa tingin ko kasi when we're able to connect more deeply with ourselves and with others, we're better able to move forward with life in a braver and more joyful way kasi mas kilala natin yung sarili natin at mas nakaka-connect din tayo, nakaka-collaborate with other people, no? And yeah, towards a more mindful and authentically expressed life. Because I think that if we're really connected with ourselves and with other people, we can be really true to who we are, but also true to who we are in a way that's caring towards other people. So, yan yung aking brief introduction. So, ano nga ba yung ginagawa ko? So, I'm a facilitator, I'm a coach, I'm also a learning designer and a writer. In the next slide, I'll share a little bit more. Also, a co-creator of Ugnayan cards. Tapos nandito rin si Cookie. Mag-hello ka na lang, Cookie. Yan.
Hi! Ayan, hello.
Ayun.
Kung tagapagpadaloy si Jen, ako naman parang kalaro ni Jen, co-creator also of Ugnayan Cards, which Jen will talk about later, but nice to be here.
Yan. So, tagapagpadaloy nga pala, in case hindi nyo alam, yun yung Tagalog word for facilitator. So, ayan, hindi ko pala napaliwanag. So, yun, parang sobrang ini-embrace ko yung term na tagapagpadaloy. Kasi essentially, di ba, kaya gusto ko rin yung unblocking of, like in that previous slide, I have to unblock courageous and joyful flow. Kaya sana, yun, nakakapagpadaloy ako ng reflections, ng conversations sa lahat ng ginagawa ko bilang isang facilitator, isang coach, isang learning designer. And then you can also connect with me via that QR code. You'll see the links to all of my work in these different spaces. Ayan nga, then I'm, apart from these other things that I've mentioned, also the chapter lead for Culture First Manila, and I'll introduce that a little bit later. I'm also a writer, producer, and former co-host for, at least for season 1, of The Imaginable Workplace. So kung gusto nyo pang matuto kung paano mag-create ng more imaginable workplace, you can check that out on Spotify or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Marami kaming different topics na pinapag-usapan doon, and kasama doon yung how do we create safer spaces to grow as well. So we talk about psychological safety. Baka familiar din yung iba na repeat customer na ng Positive Workplaces kasi I'm sure naging topic nyo na rin ang psych safety or positive communication nga in different ways. So, that being said, pakilala ko lang din yung Culture First community who's a partner din for Positive Workplaces in this event. So Culture First is a global community, no, of people from around the world united in the shared belief that a better world of work is possible. So yan, it started in Australia. Really from first it's an HR management software. They gather data around employee experience, but later on kasi gumawa sila ng itong Culture First. It's Culture Amp yung community, tas Culture Amp yung company, sorry, and Culture First yung community na ginawa nila para nga mas makapag-connect sa iba't ibang tao na talagang ito yung gustong kind of workplace na ipalaganap, 'di ba? That we have more humane, humane and connecting experiences at work. So the goal really of Culture First is to bring together people who are passionate about unlocking humanity at work through inspiring experiences and purposeful connections. So napakahalaga din sa akin sa statement na to is yung pag-unlock ng humanity and yung purposeful connections. Kasi nga, minsan, di ba, iniisip na lang natin na or trabaho lang or meron tayong masyadong hard borders, no, when we're at work, parang we feel like we can't show our whole selves. And really, yung belief ng Culture First, pati na rin yung belief ko, pati yung sa work ko sa Haraya Coaching na yung dun sa podcast as well, is we can really flourish more, diba? If we bring our whole selves, if we are more human in showing our true selves, but also human in the way we communicate and connect with other people. So ito yung core principles ng Culture First. So whenever we hold our community events as well, napaka-importante yung fostering belonging and acceptance. Recognizing the diversity is also what makes conversations richer. Also, there's a willingness to reflect and to grow. So yun yung kind of space that we want to create. Having the courage also to be vulnerable. And then, hindi lang siya usapan, sana we also put our learning into action. So we want to take it forward talaga. How do we create a better world of work if we're just talking about it? Kailangan may follow-through action din tayo. And then finally, it's about connection inside and it's connection inside and business outside. So parang here, the space that we're really trying to create is one that's connecting with you. Parang it's not about parang networking. It's about really meaningfully creating connection. So that's the kind of space that we want to create here with you, and the kind of space that we want to create at different events with Culture First. So again, if you scanned the QR code earlier, you can also find the link to the Culture First Manila page, and you can join that para ma-update din kayo pag meron kaming mga future events. Ayan. Okay. So, ano bang papag-usapan natin ngayong hapon? Our session overview is, ito yung questions that we want to lead with in the conversation this afternoon. So, why does creating a culture of connection matter? And what does connection mean to us? Tayo, particularly sa culture and sa context natin bilang mga Pilipino. And then, how might we practice cultivating more meaningful connections at work? Again, we don't want the learning to stop in this conversation. We really want to put it into practice. So how might we do that? So again, given that those are the questions that we're leading with, ito yung intentions natin. So we want to understand why creating connection matters. We want to reflect on what meaningful connection looks like. And then we want to learn practices for cultivating more meaningful connections. Ayan. At lahat ng mga to nagsisimula siya sa pag-open ng space, right? So this is what we say, no? We're inviting you. Alam ko wala naman tayong breakout sessions dito. Hindi naman talaga necessarily magkakaroon tayo ng conversations with each and everyone who's in this room. But we want to invite you rin. Since you're taking the time to be here or to log on to Zoom or YouTube, wherever you're joining us from, we want you to be able to join us with open ears or bukas na tenga. And that means really being present in the conversation. Doon nagsisimula din yung connection eh. Kasi hindi ka pwedeng mag-connect sa isang tao kung hindi ka present or hindi ka nakikinig. So that's where connection starts. And then we also want to invite you to come into this conversation with an open heart or bukas na puso. So again, marami tayong mga questions na tatanungin sa mentee throughout the next hour or so. And mahalaga yung boses nyo or yung contributions nyo sa mentee, right? We want you to be able to share authentically, and that's what enriches the conversations. And doon natin makikita na parang may common din pala ako doon sa ibang tao kasi ganito rin yung mga sagot niya. Or makikita mo na hindi ka nag-iisa doon sa nararamdaman mong yun. So, kaya mahalaga din yung when we want to connect with people, we come in with an open heart. And that's what helps us connect. And then finally, open mind or bukas na isip. So, isa rin sa mga hadlang sa connection is when our minds are closed or when we assume we know everything already. So when we lead with curiosity, with an open mind, when we are generous in our listening and in our desire to learn from others, whether it be me or just other people in this room, parang dun tayo din mas nagkakaroon ng opportunity to learn and take in the information when our minds are open. So yun po yung ating invitation for this afternoon. Yan. So ang dami ko nang sinabi, and because I want this to be more interactive, I'm gonna ask you guys the question din. So why does connection matter? Or bakit ba mahalaga ang connection? So yan, if you can join us again on Menti, we'd love for you to share with us now, why does connection matter to you? So maybe we'll just give that 30 seconds. I've hidden responses muna para mahayaan ko yung mag-isip ng sarili niyong sagot bago niyo makita yung sagot ng iba. So why does connection matter to you? Bakit mahalaga ang connection or pakikipag-ugnayan para sa inyo? Okay. So I think, yan, pwede ko na siyang i-unhide. So, understanding other people. No man is an island. Sabi nga nila, no, we're wired to connect. Human beings are wired to connect. So,
may nice din dito, Jen. Sense of belonging. Ganda yan.
Yeah. Understanding, communication. Parang pag narinig ko din yung understanding ng Hoki, para siyang bumabalik siya sa malasakit, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Trying to be, actually, parang what you said, diba? Open ears, open heart, open mind. Feeling ko yan naman ang understanding.
Yeah. So what else are we seeing here? Are you noticing anything as well, Gabby?
Yeah, natuwa ako dun sa may nag-answer na it actually prevents feeling anxiety whenever they're relating with another person. Yeah.
Yes, ganda no. Kasi parang I think related yun, may naglagay din dito, build rapport. Mas actually, as tagapagpadaloy, diba? Like, really being able to flow better.
And I guess when I don't know if I've seen that answer, but just based on what Gabby shared, I think yung feeling lang din na hindi ka nga nag-iisa, diba? When you're able to connect with someone on something and find that commonality with someone else, na parang, okay, meron pala akong shared experience na ganito na kamukha ng experience din ng ibang tao. Okay. Sige. So I think I'll proceed with the next slides. Just to also again talk about bakit nga ba mahalaga yung connection maliban pa dito sa mga nabanggit na. So unang-una, according to the World Health Organization, high quality social connections are essential to our mental and physical health and well-being. Nasabi nga nila actually last year that they see that there's an epidemic of social isolation and loneliness. And sabi din nila na the health impacts of social isolation and loneliness are comparable to smoking, obesity, and physical inactivity. So, parang kalain mo yun, di ba? Parang, that's how important social connection is. It keeps us healthy in this way. It's essential. And then an estimated 1 out of 4 people are actually experiencing social isolation, but it doesn't have to be that way, di ba? So that's, this is a health impact that we can address when we're able to connect meaningfully with other people. So, ayun nga yung isang Yeah, this was some information from an article published in the American Psychology Journal na lacking social connection was one of the um, was higher, like leading mortality rates, diba, versus smoking, etc. And again, this is not necessarily a license to smoke or drink, right? It's just highlighting, the value of connection. And healthy and meaningful connection at that. And we'll talk about that a bit more as we go. So yun yung mga why connection matters in life and society. And then bakit naman siya nagmamatter sa work? So nakita rin sa isang report in 2022 by Great Place to Work that 4 out of 5 employees are actually not flourishing at work. So baka may mga hindi pa masyadong familiar dun sa term na flourishing, pero sa positive psychology, 'di ba yun, that's how we call when people are able to thrive and when they're experiencing well-being, 'di ba, when we're flourishing. So 4 out of 5 employees are not flourishing at work. So yun yung isang finding, and that's connected to connections. So ang ang na-identify din ng Great Place to Work is, how do we also approach well-being in a way that recognizes the whole person? So how are we able to provide mental and emotional support at work, financial health, personal support, a sense of purpose or yung parang cause behind the work, and then finally meaningful connections. And that's what hindi na natin papag-usapan lahat ngayong hapon. So magfo-focus tayo sa meaningful connections. At sabi nga rin nila that supportive social relationships can also help lower our stress levels. Part of the reason why it does that is that you're able to talk through, some of your worries or concerns with someone else, and you feel like less alone nga with that stress. It can also increase the sense of enjoyment. When you're laughing with colleagues, when you're connecting with other people in that way. It can also help build psychological safety and teamwork. So para dun sa mga hindi pa masyadong familiar dun sa term na psychological safety, so this is a state when we feel parang safe to engage in risks or to challenge, to make mistakes, to learn in our workplace, diba? Without being judged or marginalized at work. So when we're also able to cultivate supportive social relationships at work, it helps increase that feeling of psychological safety. And yung parang one of the lower levels of psych safety palang is belonging, which somebody mentioned earlier na parang, connection breeds belonging as well. It also helps us build resilience to challenge and adversities. Kasi when we're also able to have more supportive social relationships, parang we're also more able to ask for help when we need it. Or we can also have people who are helping us work through the challenges that we're going through. So napakahalaga talaga ng social connections when it comes to those things. And it also helps us reach our full potential, of course, because I think that's something I feel, Cookie, you can relate to as well, na parang, when we're with like-minded people, or parang nakaka-inspire din, parang, especially Cookie is a creative person. So parang, I feel like when you also see people create, parang mas nakakagana, di ba, na mag-create ka din.
Yes, so lumalawak lang yung possibility, mas maraming opportunities to collaborate, knowing na hindi ka mag-isa. I think malaking bagay yun, and it's encouraging to do more things when you know that there are other people alongside you or other people behind you as well.
Meron ka bang ma-relate na experience doon, Cookie?
Okay, so siguro one of the things na I wanted to bring up when it comes to reaching our full potential is as a designer, meron kaming very specific interest, like type or lettering. So, meaning yung mga fonts. So, mahilig kami tumingin ng fonts. And siguro to other people, napaka-specific ng interest na yun. But we have a small group of people na mahilig sa fonts and just very passionate about it, to the point na sabi naming tatlo, what if gumawa tayo ng event to bring together this very small community of people who craft lettering work or mga fonts or mga type. And doon nabuo yung Type Fair Philippines last year. So inorganize lang namin siya, as in fun-fun lang. Hatak-hatak lang kami ng mga kaibigan, and parang who would have expected na nagkaroon din kami ng mga 200 participants din na hindi namin in-expect. And but better yet, more than the number of participants, it's about bringing the community together. Yun yung sa feedback na nakuha namin, yun yung pinaka na-appreciate ng crowd, really thanking us for being able to introduce people together, yung mga magkakakilala lang sa Instagram, nag-meet in person, nagkaroon ng mga learning from each other, and even being able to share all that knowledge together. So I think that's what it means to be able to reach your full potential, to realize na hindi ka lang mag-isa. As someone mentioned, no man is an island, and that you can do more when you do it together.
Yeah. Super ako rin, like, big believer of the gana, yung parang motivation na nakukuha natin, no, kapag we're able to connect with other people around our interests din. Kaya I think especially for that last point, no, parang there's only so much you're able to explore kasi on your own, pero kapag nakakapag-connect ka dun sa ibang tao, yun, space for collaboration and teamwork, whether that's in the office or outside. Yan. Okay. Sige, so next question. What does meaningful connection look like? So ano naman yung itsura ng makabuluhang makikipag-ugnayan? Ayan. What does meaningful connection look like? Ay, word cloud din pala to. So safe, inclusive. Curious din ako, no? So meaningful connection looks like it's happy, joyful, makakautang ng madami. So may financial health daw siya doon, okay? May acceptance, may empathy. Yeah. I appreciate na it's two-way, no? I think that's also something that I want to be able to highlight. Yung nakita ko na it's two-way, it's interactive. Kasi there's a give and take in creating meaningful connections. Parang hindi naman pwede yung isang tao lang yung lagi nagkukwento or lagi papakita ng kanyang true self, tas yung isa wala naman siyang na-express, or hindi rin naman pwedeng yung yun na nga, salita lang tayo ng salita, hindi tayo nakikinig. So kailangan may give and take in that relationship and creating meaningful connection. Right?
Yeah, gusto ko rin dito yung ayan, may nakita ko kanina, feeling valued. Ganda rin yun kasi I think when there are nice connections, malaking bagay yung maramdaman mong meron kang halaga. I think that's a very powerful thing also.
Yeah. So I'm seeing like primarily safety, empathy, acceptance, happy, healthy. And siguro baka later we can explore a bit more what safe actually looks like, diba? Okay. Sige, maybe I'll give it a few more seconds. Just in case anything
dito, luxury. May nagsabi ng luxury. Actually, nice yun, di ba? Parang kayamanan, the form of kayamanan ang connection. Ganda.
Totoo naman. Ayan. Pwede rin kayong maglagay sa Zoom kung hindi kayo maka-join sa Menti. Although we hope you'll join us on Menti kasi marami pa tayong mga questions for you later on. Yan, sige. But I will move on for now. But hopefully mamaya pwede kayong mag-join sa amin sa Menti. Okay. Next. So, kind of just connecting as well, no, dun sa mga naging responses ninyo, di ba? Really at the heart of meaningful connection is recognizing kapwa. So, again, para dun sa mga repeat positive workplace attenders. Alam ko na napag-usapan na to sa some of the other sessions, no, Gabby? Kapwa.
Yes. Yeah. Mga
Yeah.
psikolohiyang Pilipino na concepts from last year pa yata. Tapos
Oo.
na Gerson din. Yeah.
Yeah. Ayun, so napakaganda actually ng salitang to sa mga Pilipino kasi parang may kakaiba siyang kahulugan na hindi natin masalin sa English ng basta-basta, 'di ba? Um, pero ano nga ba yung ibig natin sabihin when we say this, 'di ba? So, kapwa kasi it recognizes a shared identity or a shared inner self with other people. At according to Virgilio Enriquez, father of Psikolohiyang Pilipino, it's a moral obligation also to treat one another as equal fellow human beings. Actually, para siyang kinikilala mo yung ibang tao bilang na hindi sila ibang tao necessarily, pero kapwa tao. So that in itself parang allows also already a bit more connection, na we're looking more for what we have in common with other people rather than what makes us different, 'di ba? And that contributes to us parang bringing out this humanity, 'di ba? In kung paano tayo nakikipag usap sa ibang tao. And ayun, essentially that the heart of that idea is that we're more alike than different if we choose to lean in with understanding, with empathy, with curiosity. Right? So, ayan, having genuine interest then in other people and other people's well-being, again at the heart of like recognizing other people as fellow humans, 'di ba? So parang napakaganda lang yung salita sa wikang Pilipino. Tapos ayon nga din dun sa isang report, again by Great Place to Work, they found that 90% of employees at the best workplaces in the Philippines said that meaningful connection involves bringing our true selves to work, and showing genuine care for each other. So it aligns din, 'di ba, with how we think of kapwa. 'Di ba? So coming from this, also wanted to check with this group, and again we invite you to join us on Menti. Yan. So you can join us on Menti. The link's in the chat, or you can scan the QR code. I'll give you a bit more time to join us for this particular survey. So maganda ring mas mag-gauge natin yung mga responses ng mga tao dito sa questions natin. No? So connection is important to me in the workplace. I feel like I can bring my true self to work. I feel like I am shown genuine care at work. And I feel like I show genuine care to others at work. And then finally, I feel connected with my colleagues at work. Sige. Hide ko muna yung responses para suspense. So I'll give you maybe 20 more seconds to respond to these questions. So connection is important to me in the workplace. I feel like I can bring my true self to work. I feel like I am shown genuine care at work. But also, kasi nga, give and take, two-way, I feel like I also show genuine care to others at work. I feel connected with my colleagues at work. Okay, nice. We have 183 responses in so far. Although I see we also have 900 plus people in the Zoom room. So pwede pa kayong humabol ng responses ninyo dito sa survey natin. Siguro hintayin ko, ayan. Sabihin ko lang hintayin ko yung 200. Yan, nag-200 na siya. So, sige, let us reveal. Ay. Oops. Sorry, wait lang. Ayan. So, clearly, we can see that connection really is important to people in this room. So, tama naman na nandito kayo sa webinar na to kasi connection is important to you. Di ba? And then we have a 3.9 score for people feeling like they can bring their true selves to work. 3.9 for feeling like you are shown genuine care at work. 4.2, so slightly higher. So there's a slightly higher feeling of I show genuine care to others at work. At tapos 3.9 ulit for feeling connected with my colleagues at work. So this is just parang a snapshot just to say, okay, this is parang I guess yung mas papansinin din natin is yung difference between this first one and this last one. Kasi this is saying like how important it is to us, and this last one is how satisfied or how fulfilled that need is met, 'di ba? So yun, parang meron pa siyang gap, and that's something that we can work on. And then also just recognizing no na the areas that we could possibly work on, or how can I bring more of my own self into the workplace, and then maybe how can I express my needs for care or support as well. And then this one, it's slightly higher. So actually, this is a good thing kasi parang when we're also showing other people genuine care, that helps us connect more with other people. So yun. So maybe think about that too. I think this is something that I wanna be able to highlight din, na yung pagiging connected din natin sa teammates natin, hindi lang siya effort ng ibang tao, kundi effort din natin makipag-connect sa iba, effort din natin na maging matulungin or makinig sa kwento ng ibang tao. So that can really help us feel more connected as well. Okay. Sige. So now that we've talked a little bit about connection in that way, I'm curious to know as well what gets in the way naman of us connecting with others. So ano ba yung nagiging hadlang or mga blockers natin sa mas meaningful na connection with other people at work? So I have another mentee question there. Gabby, feel free to let me know as well if there's anything that sticks out for you in the chat that we should pay attention to also.
Yeah, actually, yung una is language barrier. I think we also experience that here kasi minsan they're more fluent in their own dialects. So, purely English or purely Filipino yung ginagamit, merong mga hindi, alam mo yun, siguro naiintindihan ng buo.
Yeah.
Sa context nila. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dito lang din from like the snapshot at the top, no, maraming hiya or shyness, parang mga 3 or 4 here just from this view. So that's a very interesting pattern or theme.
Someone also said, feeling ko hindi lang psychosocial disability, pero disability in general. Kasi we've also had requests kung pwedeng may sign language interpreter during the webinars then. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah, definitely parang something to shed light on, no? And I don't know then how much has been talked about on DEI or diversity, equity, and inclusion dito sa positive workplaces. Pero yeah, it's very parang telling din kung how inclusive you make your workplace for people with disability, no? And it can be very disconnecting kapag hindi siya na-address. And I guess while it's nice, parang while we want maybe management to be a bit more aware or cognizant about that, parang it's also important na people who are experiencing this, or friends or colleagues of people who are experiencing this, are also able to speak out to that, para nga mas magkaroon ng culture of inclusivity, di ba? So yun nga, nakita ko nga din dito yung sa mentee, no, being shy, or misunderstandings, or shyness. Ang dami nga shyness, introvert.
Introvert.
Yeah. Fear of judgment, fear of
Age
rejection.
differences. Yes, sa age differences.
Yung biases din, nakita nyo, parang repeatedly din siyang lumalabas.
Yung alin?
Biases.
Biases. Ooh. So parang babalik siya dun sa DEI conversation a little bit, no? That baka meron tayong mga perceptions of other people, or feeling natin may perceptions yung other people towards us, and that kind of gets in the way of us connecting with other people. Lol, may sip-sip sa word.
Sip sa word.
Possible scrutiny. So, I'm curious lang, no, as we're reading these responses, parang to me, and maybe Gabby or Cookie feel free to say otherwise, but parang it feels like a lot of anticipatory, or like mga perceptions lang siya, na hindi ko sure kung how much of it is grounded on past experience, or parang nag-aalinlangan lang ba tayo dahil hindi natin alam, because of the uncertainty or of the unknown, hindi natin alam paano sila magre-respond. Ganun ba yun? Parang yun yung basa ko. Diba?
Yes, actually, I'm curious. I'm curious about that as well. If there are certain perceptions about, let's say, power or age or ability, that it gets in the way of us connecting with others.
Yeah. So yun. A lot of different things, no? But I think a lot of dominant yung shyness, perceptions of others, not wanting to be judged, and not wanting to be rejected.
Yes.
Yeah. Dami. Yeah. And I guess trust also had come out a few times. And that's an interesting conversation, no? So even with the company that I work with then for the Imaginable Workplace, Haraya Coaching, parang it's come up, this conversation around trust, na parang minsan kailangan din natin magtaya. Yung kahit wala ka pang prior experience dun sa tao, di ba? Parang minsan kailangan mo magtaya na, okay, parang for now, I will trust that this person will receive this with some grace. Parang may pagtataya ng konti, and that's what also helps build more trust when we're also able to be vulnerable and open up to other people. So I think I can talk a little bit more to the shyness or the fear of rejection a little bit later as well. Pero yeah, I think it's just interesting to see what's common dito sa mga what gets in the way of people connecting with other people. Is there anything else, Gabby or Cookie, that you feel like you wanted to say here?
Well, may lumabas din crab mentality, and kind of like saw na parang something related is like prevalence of unhealthy competition. Whether it's a perception of it or whether it's actually happening in the workplace currently.
No. So again, I think there's also something to be said about what's our perception, but also what's the actual culture of the organization. And lalo na kung marami sa mga participants natin are individual contributors or team members, maybe there's that feeling that how can I sort of overcome kung yun na yung prevailing culture in the organization. So yung mga blockers din talaga to, no? Sige. So now that we've talked a little bit about what's getting in the way, I'm curious to know also naman, what can actually help create a brave and safe space for connection, diba? So iba sa inyo kanina, you answered what connection, parang what makes a meaningful connection, sabi nyo safe. So dito we're trying to break it down a little bit more to really understand what makes a brave and safe space for connection. Ano ba yung parang ano yung itsura nun? Ano yung kailangan mangyari dun sa space na yun? Ano yung ginagawa ng mga tao sa space na yun? Para masabi natin na brave and safe space siya for connection. Right? Sige, so we can have a few moments then for you to put in your answers on Menti. What can help create a brave and safe space for connection? Ooh. Okay. Yes, open-minded. Again, trust, no? So it's interesting how trust is a blocker, but also it's an enabler. Active listening, pagiging makatao. Love ko tong pagiging makatao. Yung humanity talaga yung is important.
Genuine
again,
care and interest is also interesting. Hindi siya plastikan or for the sake of makipag-ugnayan lang, but really being curious about a person and really showing na you're listening to a particular interest, or that when you are talking about an interest for yourself, also being able to show that you care.
Oo nga. Yeah, so hindi siya yung it's not because you want to get ahead, that's why you're connecting with people, but really parang gusto mong kilalanin yung tao, 'di ba? Pagiging makatao, genuineness. I love how that's quite open, a lot of open
Honest and
communication,
open sana,
open-minded.
yes.
Yeah. So tama naman tayo, Cookie, sa pagsabi na open ears, open
Ah,
heart,
open
open mind. Kailangan talagang open ka.
Oo. And mahirap yun kasi related yun sa trust, 'di ba? Na ano bang mauuna, yung pagiging bukas o yung pagtataya, and or do they interchange? So interesting question yun na hindi natin alam kung ano yung actual sagot there.
Yeah. I think it's a combination of both, 'di ba? Hindi kasi sa lahat ng pagkakataon na parang that somebody is able to prove that they're trustworthy right away. Sometimes that has parang yung pagtataya will have to come first. But maybe sometimes there's already an instance that already allowed you to build some trust in someone. So mas kaya mo ring magtaya or maging mas vulnerable, right? So yeah, chicken and egg siya. So it's kind of you have parang hindi rin tayo pwede masyadong hinihintay lang natin na
Oo.
somebody earns their trust. We also have to proactively build it, right?
Oo. May nakita nga ako somewhere na parang who's gonna be the first to be honest, and 'di ba? Parang magandang ano yun, magandang thought yun.
Yeah. Parang meeting halfway. Um, kasi I guess to connect with someone, hindi na mahirap din yung parang ikaw lang yung gusto mag-connect, yung ibang tao mag-connect sa'yo. Yeah, so meeting halfway, creating that supportive environment, being frank yet respectful. So I think this is connected now with how we were talking about being your authentic self, but also showing genuine care for others, diba? So authenticity yung pagiging frank, right? Pero respectful pa rin kasi may pananagutan din tayo with how that we have an accountability with how that lands for other people when we're being our true selves.
It
Yeah.
actually reminds me of may sabi sa amin sa work na parang being nice is different from being kind, na especially when it comes to feedback, kasi sometimes we don't like giving feedback because we want to be nice, we don't want to hurt the other person, but sometimes giving feedback is the kindest thing you can do. So kind of reminds me of that being frank yet respectful piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ano din, I think they can also relate with one of the topics last month where they were taught kung paano magbigay ng proper feedback. Pero I
Yeah.
like what you said, Jen, about how it lands on the other person. Kasi minsan yung sarili lang, parang kung paano lang natin i-deliver yung message. Pero we also don't, alam mo yung pakikiramdam kung paano ba niya matatanggap yung message na yun.
Yeah. Alam mo, guilty ako dyan eh. Parang I feel like a lot of times in the past, I felt like I was just giving a parang matter of fact, very straight up like response lang. Tapos hindi pala ako aware na kung paano na siya nagla-landing with other people. So I think part of also us proactively connecting is kind of checking in with how people are perceiving our communication. So that's also another parang opportunity for connection, 'di ba? Na parang ikaw na yung kusang, uy, gusto ko mag 360 feedback or parang gusto ko malaman sa mga teammates or colleagues ko sana. And and doing that in a way that really na may humility ka din talaga, hindi yung parang nagfi-fish ka lang ng praise, but you really want to learn and grow.
Actually, gusto ko yung word na sinabi mo, Gabi, pakikiramdam. Parang feeling ko very Pinoy din yun. Parang
Yeah.
it's a level of empathy or, parang pagbasa ng spirit or soul of a person na parang, okay, ito ba yung, how are they feeling about this? I think there's something beautiful about pakikiramdam.
Yeah. Ayun. So, yeah, ang dami about being open, no? Willingness to listen. I think it kind of just goes back as well to that curiosity and also courage, I think, yung pagiging ganun kabukas, 'di ba? Para sa ibang tao. Yeah, so I think we can go to the next slide at this point. Salamat sa mga nagbibigay ng mga responses ninyo sa Menti. Oh, I like this din pala. Allowing others to speak up and say no when necessary. Yeah, parang bumabalik siya dun sa frank but respectful. Parang you also acknowledge what your limits are or what other people's limits are, and you accept that. Yeah, that's it. Ayun, may start from yourself. I think that relates to how you were talking about your framework then, Gabby, no, for what was it? Positive
Feedback. Parang how to give feedback. Yeah.
and then yung kanina, yung at the top of the session, yung starting with the
Small talk. Sorry.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay, sige. So maybe just in a nutshell to kind of summarize some of the things that I feel like I've picked up personally from my work with Haraya as well. Sorry, hindi ko pala nabanggit dun sa earlier slides. But yeah, so I also work with Haraya and we do organizational transformation programs. And a lot of that is really about creating brave and safe spaces. So one thing, and it's not just my Haraya work, it's also, things I'll hear from different authors or psychologists like Barbara Fredrickson. I'm sure yung iba dyang mga familiar sa positive psychology, kilala rin siya. And also Charles Duhigg, who's the author of Power of Habit, and also recently he came out with a book on super communicators and really how to create meaningful connection. One of the first things that we can do to create brave and safe spaces for connection is really to focus on the other person. Parang alam ko kinapag-usapan na rin natin to before na parang, sometimes we're a bit conscious na how do we appear interesting to someone? Parang, and we're thinking so much of ourselves in that situation versus if we focus on the other person and we're leaning in with more curiosity about the other person, that is a good basis for connection rather than thinking na, oh, how can I impress this person? But it's really more, paano ko pa makikilala tong taong to? Or parang I'm so curious about the other dimensions of this person. Or I'm curious about, what this person is feeling at this moment. Or maybe, what brings them joy or what they did over the weekend. Right? So it's really more about the other person.
And I think yung context ng conversation na to is in the context of how do I seem more interesting when I converse with someone na parang, oh, what do I have to say? Parang what if I run out of things to say? Pero what if the answer is to ask more questions about the person and really trying to understand them?
Yeah. Yeah, sige, I'll circle back to that on the last bullet. Pero second is to share heartfully. Ewan ko, pauso ko lang to. Pero parang imbes na yung, kasi sometimes when we share thoughtfully, it's like very brain, but I think I wanted to say share heartfully because it's about us also being able to be vulnerable, to be authentic to our true selves. But also when I say heartfully, it's like sharing in a way that is caring to other people as well. Kasi parang hindi lahat ng sharing um, hindi lahat ng sharing necessarily breeds connection. Sometimes if we're sharing in a way na parang nag-rant lang tayo or parang yung parang wala siyang intention to connect. Sometimes it's not going to connect. So to share heartfully is to share vulnerably but also intentionally. Na parang how am I using this opportunity to share to really connect with someone else.
May raised hand tayo.
Sige, Aksani, do you wanna share something? Or napindot lang ba niya? Hindi ako sure.
Okay, sige. While we're waiting for that, actually just to add sa, ayan, yes po.
Sige lang, Cookie.
Ay, okay. So, this is related lang sa share heartfully, no? Parang I feel like yung term na puso, very Pinoy din yun. Yung parang, yung Gilas team natin, puso. Or parang, may puso yung ginagawa. So, I think very interesting na very embedded in our culture also yun in some way na we like doing things with care.
Yeah. And both ways, di ba? Parang, bukas puso sa akin pero parang I also do it in a way na parang may puso ko para sa ibang tao or parang makatao yung pag-deliver ko rin ng sharing ko na yun. And then finally, ask questions with curiosity. So actually, I was listening to this podcast nga with Charles Duhigg, yung author nga of Super Communicators and like how to create more meaningful connections, ganyan. And he and also Barbara Fredrickson would say na, parang related siya dun sa mga blockers na binanggit ng mga tao kanina na madalas para tayong nahihiya, ganyan. Pero actually, more often than not, if we ask questions to connect with someone, people will welcome the opportunity to talk about themselves or something that's important to them. As long again as these questions aren't just the transactional work-related things, di ba? Na parang there's an opportunity to connect meaningfully with other people. So how do we ask those questions, di ba, with curiosity to really connect with other people?
Yeah, and I want to bring it back also to may sumagot kanina earlier about feeling valued. I think being asked questions can also parang signify parang feeling valued na parang your voice matters here or parang I'm open to listen to you. So if there's something nice about that as well.
Yeah. Yung hearing people out, no? Tapos parang another thing also that Charles Duhigg mentioned was yung even asking the follow-up questions as well is just as important as asking the first question. Kasi pag nag-follow-up question tayo, well, at least the generalization or the assumption is we're able to ask that follow-up question because we were genuinely listening to someone. Kaya yung mga sumagot din ng active listening, that's what meaningful connection looks like. Yes. So much of connecting is really how we're able to really meaningfully listen to other people. And yeah, sobrang connected din siya sa parang ako with my work as a coach, like a lot of our time spent is really how do we really listen so intently to other people so that we're able to ask meaningful questions about them and help them kind of get to their own solutions based on just how we're able to reflect back what they were sharing to us and asking those insightful questions. Yeah. Okay, ayan si Aksani may nilagay sa chat. Binabasa ko lang siya. So I have a powerful voice and most of the time I was misinterpreted by my colleagues. They thought galit ako lagi, but this is my nature. How to handle po sana with my scenario. So, yeah, so that's feedback, no, Aksani. So siguro, parang baka it's also something to be aware about. Parang how how is it landing? Parang yun yung napuna din ni Gabby when that I was like, when we're communicating, how are we conscious about how it lands for other people? So if this is something that's been mentioned to you, it means it's something that was noticed. So ano kaya yung pwede mong ano yung adjustment ba na kailangan mangyari? How will they perceive that your input? Kasi I'm sure, when you're speaking up powerfully, it means that you feel very strongly about something. So yeah, is it just thinking about how I might deliver it? Is it about the words? Is it my tone of voice? So maybe breaking down ko parang bakit ganun yung perception ng ibang tao sa akin. Right, tone of voice. Yan. So maybe how might you be able to adjust that accordingly so that you're able to connect more with other people. Kasi minsan din kapag hindi tayo conscious sa tono natin or maski hindi sa tono, sa facial expression, whatever, parang that can also get in the way of meaningful connection when parang it makes other people kind of shut down na if it feels like it's very aggressive towards them. Yeah, so maybe also just being more aware of that as well. Pero it's a good thing na rin that somebody brought this to your attention and you can use that as feedback, di ba? Hindi rin naman siya necessarily judgment on your part na sinabi nila yun sa'yo, but it's a point, it's an invitation to, okay, adjust. How can I better communicate so I can connect more meaningfully with other people?
And
Yeah.
siguro din, no, parang asking questions with curiosity, going back to that. Kasi parang one time din, sinabihan ako ng colleague ko na parang I'm too much of a micromanager, na I check on their work too much. And ako, parang iba naman yung intention ko. My intention is to, create the best work. And sometimes, the first thing that comes to me is like a sense of defensiveness na hindi naman kasi pero parang what does it look like to really ask those questions na parang, oh, in what way do you feel like I'm being micromanaging? Because I think clarity, that level of clarity and nuance also is going to be very helpful para get to understand how we relate better with other people. And ayan, babalik na yan sa safety and trust na do they feel safe enough to be able to share that with you? And it seems naman na parang they feel safe and comfortable to share it. So parang how does that kind of feedback become a conversation rather than just like a one, rather than something na babalik lang sa'yo and then di mo na alam what to do with it after. Ayun.
Yeah, so meron din ako nakitang interesting question from Alvin in the chat. Uy, dumadami yung question sa chat. How to manage over familiarity naman. Ano ba to? Parang masyadong naging connected yung parang basa ko dyan. But again, parang I think babalik tayo dun sa what is a brave and safe space for connection. And sometimes if it's overly familiar, or parang medyo may lack ba of boundaries there, yun ba yung sinasabi mo, Alvin? So parang how do we bring it back to like what is safe, what is a brave and safe space for us to connect, right? Ano nga ba? Over familiarity. You wanna expound? Anyway, sige, babasahin na lang natin yung ibang questions din. How do you deal with situations where people see you as having a strong personality? Right. Okay. Yeah, so I think similar with Aripa and Aksani earlier.
Yes.
Yeah, so yeah, I think it to also connect better with other people. Minsan meron ding adjustments din tayo, depende sino yung kausap natin. And that takes practice din, di ba? And but that's also part of being able to connect meaningfully with others. Minsan kasi depende yan sino kausap mo, mag-iiba yung paano ka makipag-usap. So a part of that is really how do we speak the same language, 'di ba? Parang parang dialect lang yun yan or language barrier kumbaga. So yeah, it matters then na you'll notice in different groups you might be talking in different ways. 'Di ba? Whether it's language or even tone, expressions, ganyan. So sometimes there is a degree of parang how do I adjust for the different groups without necessarily sacrificing what is my authentic expression, 'di ba? Pero minsan kasi meron tayong adjustments para lang mas makapag-build tayo ng rapport with other people.
Minsan din, I guess like well, it's something I learned from you, Jen, as a facilitator na sometimes depending on the space, kunyari may meeting kayo, it is helpful to have expectation setting. So parang what does that look like, 'di ba? And siguro wala tayong mabibigay na definitive answers, but I think there is something beautiful about expectation setting kasi we we set certain boundaries with each other, but also coming from a place of wanting to have like a space of trust and safety.
Yeah, sige. So I think I'll move on to the next slides because it might be able to address some of the questions that are coming up. So actually, after this slide, i-introduce ko rin briefly yung Ugnayan cards. So yun, is itong project that Cookie and I worked on. Ay, sorry, hindi pa pala yung next slide. Sorry. So basically, itong bullet points din pala na to, na focus on the other, to share heartfully, and to ask questions with curiosity. Parang bumabalik siya dun sa earlier bullets ko on how do we open space? How do we open up this space for connection? It's really open ears, open heart, open mind din yung kanyang essence. So anyway, we also just wanted to share Ugnayan cards. It's cards for connection that Cookie and I created para nga sa makabuluhan at mapagpalayang pakikipag-ugnayan sa sarili, sa kapwa at sa mundo. So in English, it's really about creating more meaningful or more liberating connections with ourselves, with others, and the world. So ugnayan comes from the Tagalog or Filipino word for connection. Again, yung intention nga niyan is to create space for reflections and conversations. Yan. And we created the cards really for anyone who wants to create deeper connections, whether it would be with themselves or with people at home or people at work, just to be able to facilitate, more meaningful conversations, no? Na hindi yung mga, we're just recounting kung ano nangyari sa araw natin or nagchichismis lang tayo about somebody else. Like, how can we really have more connecting experiences? We also created it for facilitators, coaches, and educators who want a more creative way of creating connections and getting deeper insight from participants as well. So kwento ko lang na it comes with 96 different questions in English and Tagalog. We also have 12 different well-being-based themes. So yung themes namin sa cards are very much aligned with positive psychology and well-being, but also inspired by Filipino psychology as well. So hindi lang siya just using this Western framework of positive psychology, but we really tried to integrate then what might that mean, or what might that look like for us also as Filipinos? What might well-being look like? And then each deck also comes with a short guide on facilitating more connecting experiences. So we'll just introduce a little bit of that here. We don't really have time to go through everything, pero every deck comes with a short gabay sa pakikipag-ugnayan, or a guide to connection. And we really start by opening the space. Tapos meron kaming invitation for like warm-up questions. How do you warm people up for a deeper conversation? How might you connect? And how might you also close the conversation? Pero unang-una is really, how do we want to create that container, diba? How do we want to create that space? So this is connected to what Cookie was saying, kaugnay siya ng parang expectation setting. Paano ba tayo sa usapan na to? And how can we make that really safe and brave for everyone? So, paulit-ulit na to. Sana kung meron kayong maalala by the end of this session, it's really kailangan open ears, open heart, open mind tayo. At yun, meron tayong illustration ni Cookie dyan of puso ng saging para maalala nyo. Pero apart from these, we also included dun sa gabay a few other additional guidelines of how we can enable more connection or avoid the blocking of connection. So here's just a few other tips that we have to share. So unang-una, maging patas to give each other roughly equal time to share. So for us to connect with people, parang important din yung nagiging conscious tayo of how much space we're taking up ourselves, but also how much space we're giving to others. So depends yun So if you notice yourself to be a more talkative kind of person, how do I make sure na I'm also allowing another person to be heard? At the same time, if you also notice na hindi ka naman masyado kang shy type, how do I also make sure that I take up that time and space, 'di ba? Para makapag-connect din ako sa ibang tao. Next, iwasan ng pagsingit, so avoid interrupting. You'll have your turn at least dito when we create the container sa ugnayan cards. Avoiding interrupting or minsan hina-hijack natin yung kwento ng ibang tao, parang sisingit tayo with a comment. And sometimes if you are reflecting back what they shared with you, that's okay, that's helpful. Pero sometimes parang hina-hijack natin yung kwento na nagiging tungkol sa atin, and that can be a blocker to meaningful connection. So another tip is to galangin ng pagsang-ayon or to make sure that people are also consenting to the connection. So dito din sa cards namin kasi minsan may mga questions that are a bit harder to answer or parang maybe they're not comfortable answering. So parang yun na nga yung sinasabi din ni Gabby, pakikiramdaman din natin yung ibang tao. How far can we take this connection today? How maybe it's small steps of building more meaningful connection in gradual ways. And then maybe just as a final tip for today, magtanong bago magbigay ng payo or to ask before we give advice. Because often when we're looking to create connection with others, we're not necessarily looking for answers or problem solving. Pag sinabi natin connection, it's really about being seen, being heard, or seeing or hearing other people. So again, it's not listening so that I can solve something for you or parang ganun. So it's really how do you listen to see and hear the person that you're connecting with, diba? So yeah, yan. It's really about being seen, heard, and valued. No? And when we're able to really listen to other people, hindi parang we let them feel what they're feeling or like go through whatever they're experiencing, and it's not about us necessarily solutioning that kagad. It's really just about being present and listening. And sometimes parang it sounds so simple, pero ang default natin is not always necessarily just to listen. Minsan parang because we're uncomfortable with what they have to share, sometimes we feel like we need to come in and say something, but sometimes it's good to just kind of acknowledge and thank them for sharing vulnerably. So I'm just gonna ask you guys this question, pero hindi na to menti, pero kayo ba, what do you feel you need to grow in yourself to create more space for connection? So that's an invitation that we have for you before we close out this entire session, diba? Sabi nga ni Gabby kanina, diba? It really starts with the self. So what do you feel you need to grow in yourself to create more space for connection? So we wanted to share the 12 different themes we have from the Ugnayan cards. Baka makatulong to magbigay ng inspiration sa inyo to think about, how might I use these different themes to create more connection with other people. And we also have some questions for reflection related to those themes. Yan. So some of these questions I just wrote for today's session. Some of them are actually in our deck of cards. Pero kunyari sa sadya, 'di ba? If I need more intentionality in how I want to connect with others, maybe it's also about asking myself the question, what makes it meaningful for me to connect with others? What makes connecting with others meaningful or important to me? Right? Baka yun yung kailangan mong i-reflect on, I'm not sure. Or maybe if you notice na you're not very present when other people are trying to connect with you, maybe a question you can ask yourself dito sa Daloy or Flow is like, what can help me be more present when connecting with others at work, right? Maybe you're also looking at maybe you also want more laro or play in your life. So maybe how can you combine that para two birds with one stone, diba? What joyful activities can help you bond with others? And then for sigla or vitality, this is our theme around the body or energy. So what group activities naman with colleagues give you more energy and strength? Again, it's kind of hitting two birds with one stone na parang ano nga ba yung personal well-being needs mo and how can you use that also to create connection with others? Or maybe what causes or advocacies connect you with others in your workplace dito sa kinship, or for this Laya theme, maybe what can help you feel freer to show your authentic self at work. If you feel like kagandahang loob or kindness is something that you want to focus on, maybe what is something you do for others at work that helps you feel good too. So yeah, I think that's something that's super important actually. Related siya dun sa kanina nag-survey kayo, di ba? It's like yung mas mataas yung score nyo ng konti on do I feel like I'm showing genuine concern to others? That can also help boost your own well-being when you're doing something for others as well. And then lakas ng loob, what's an area of growth that you can explore with others in your team? Maybe that can also be a point of connection. Tibay ng loob is about inner strength. So maybe what challenges could you ask your leader or teammates to support you with? Again, mabalik siya dun sa what is one of the values of social connection, di ba? It's really being able to be more resilient in the face of challenges. So pag-asa, hope, what opportunities do you now see? You can help you connect with other people at work. Yeah, and I want to highlight this pasasalamat or gratitude as well. So maybe a prompt or a question here is think of someone at work that you're really grateful for lately. What is it that you'd like to say to them? So sa mga Pilipino, sobrang important yung gratitude or like pag-appreciate natin, especially, and if you even say that in a group setting, great kasi they'll feel that boost. Pero okay lang din naman maski one-on-one or private. But I think it's important that when we're grateful for certain people in our team, that we're able to express that. And that can be a very simple exercise, but a very connective one as well. And then finally, yung pagbubuo or integration, maybe to think of someone at work that you want to understand better. What might seeing them as a whole person do? You know, kapag kinilala natin yung ibang dimensions ng taong to, parang kaya pala niya ako pinapahirapan. Hindi ka naman niya pala pinapahirapan, may pinagdadaanan lang siya. 'Di ba? Posibleng meron naman siya.
Para din siya yung mga lumalabas kanina na perception, judgment, bias na we already make assumptions about a certain person or people make certain assumptions about ourselves. So what does it look like to see the other dimensions of a particular person?
Yeah. Okay. I'm not being able to catch up with the chat. Gabby, is there anything that's sticking out for you?
They are actually sharing parang their own contributions or like something that they can work on to communicate and better connect at work. And
Nice.
ang ganda nung mga questions that you have. Kasi I'm not sure if you noticed, pero dun sa survey questions mo kanina, mataas yung I show genuine care, pero naglalag
Yes.
behind yung I sense that people genuinely care for me. So, alam mo yun, these are points of reflection na, oh, how can I show this better? Kasi hindi pala nasisense ng mga trabaho ko na they
Oh,
care for me enough, di ba? So, I think
yeah.
these will be concrete, these questions will yield concrete steps or concrete actions that they can do so that they can
Yeah.
show genuine care inside the org.
Yeah. And again, sa akin, yung pasasalamat talaga, sobrang simple lang niya. Pero ang laki ng impact niya sa pag-create ng connection. Because that's also one very easy way of making someone feel seen, heard, and valued. Kapag na-acknowledge mo na parang, you helped me in this way or you impacted me in this way. Thank you so much para dun sa bagay na yun. Baka hindi mo nga na-realize na may effect siya sa akin, pero salamat. So, napakalaking bagay niya. So, yun, I'm just mindful of time. Time flies when you're madaldal. Um, I think I'll just proceed with closing at this point.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I guess for myself and Cookie, no, na bakit mahalaga din sa amin yung ugnayan. If we really believe connection can help generate more malasakit or empathy, compassion for ourselves and for each other. And then it will help us live a more mindful and authentically expressed life. And then it will also create a more connected and compassionate world. So parang nagsisimula siya sa sarili, pero yung impact niya, mararamdaman din ng mga tao na nasa paligid natin. So, yeah, that being said, baka hindi ko na to, fast forward ko na to kasi time na tayo. Or do I have, fast forward ka na, Gabi?
We can give that later. We just have to give them the evaluation form by 4:30 and then we can continue the conversation.
Ay, okay. Sige. So, what do you wanna, sorry, should I stop share first?
I can
Oh.
grab the screen muna.
Sige.
They can continue since some of them already have the Menti link. You can put in the word you're taking away from this session. And thank you, Jen and Koki, for this wonderful conversation. Alam mo, this is a different approach to what we usually do in our webinars. I hope na our learners this afternoon really appreciated the conversation because they were able to express, diba? Like, what are the barriers? Ano ba yung, what can I do better? Or like, what makes a safe space for me to be able to connect with others? Ayan. So, while you are all filling out that Menti, I will, in the interest of time, because it's already 4:30, we will be sharing with you the QR code for the evaluation form. So you can scan the QR code that you can see on the screen, or you can just quickly click on the link that Daffy shared in the chat box. And then Jen, while they are answering, we can answer some some questions on Pigeonhole because maraming nag-enter while you were already. Parang yung, di ba, may portion doon, ang dami na nilang tanong. So, para maging maganda yung daloy natin, we already opened the Pigeonhole so that you can already get some questions as well. So, Daffy, kahit yung mga evaluation forms yung ilagay mo because we already have some questions in our Pigeonhole. So let me just share that screen. Ayan. Can you see it now? Okay. So Jen, I'm giving you the option of which question to answer first. So,
wow.
yeah, they can usually co-create the question kasi if they resonated one, they can upvote a question. So far, we have 4 people asking, how do we deal with someone at work who share their grievances but are not open to receiving resolutions and even advice? Or if there's any question you want to answer, caught your attention, go ahead. You may do so.
I'm just wondering about time though, Gabby. I think I'm happy to maybe respond to some of these questions in my Instagram stories.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. At least mas mababasa na mas mababasa lahat later. But I think I want to kind of maybe just go back to the Menti. I don't know. Is that okay?
Sure, sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so as well, medyo given siguro yung connection as a dominant word. But really safe space, ugnayan, genuine connection. I appreciate that genuine connection came up because it's not just about parang connection, but really genuine or like meaningful connection. Not all connection siguro is equal, di ba? Compassion, and pakikipagkapwa, lumabas din siya. Yeah, and feel
Interesting dyan,
free. Ay,
may
sige, go lang. Go lang, Cookie.
may lumabas na tagapagpadaloy. Interesting kasi I think that's a word na nag-resonate. I think that's nice, 'di ba? Na maganda yung meaning ng tagapagpadaloy actually. So yun lang.
Yay!
Thought ko lang.
One of my, parang ino-own, parang, ano I love that, I love using that word for myself personally as a facilitator nga and as a coach. But I would love for more people to be talagang tagapagpadaloy din ng ugnayan. Kasi parang hindi naman siya, creating meaningful connections is not something exclusive to a facilitator or a coach. It's something that I feel everyone can do. And parang yun din yung invitation namin ni Cookie with the Ugnayan cards is, how do we make it easier for other people to kind of begin exploring how to have more meaningful conversations and therefore connections with other people. So, yeah, maraming salamat no sa pag-participate, sa pakikilahok ninyo sa Menti namin. And I guess before we go, I'm just leaving this in the chat, in the chat on the screen, so that you can, scan the QR if you haven't already. It will have all of the links to my own Instagram, to Ugnayan's Instagram, to Culture First, para isang puntahan nandiyan na lahat, or yung bit.ly/Jen, where you can find all of the relevant links there to all the different work, and also the Imaginable Workplace podcast also by Haraya, where you can learn more about how to create a more imaginable, more connected workplace with your colleagues, regardless of your industry or your level within the organization. Yon. I think that's it. Meron pa ba? Ayun nga. So yun na yun. Thank you. Gabby, you can take it away.
Yes, hold on. So thank you, Jen and Cookie, for the conversation that we had this afternoon. Sobrang nakakatuwa yung engagement. I hope you also found a lot of new insights regarding pakikipag-ugnayan, di ba, in our webinar this afternoon.
So yeah, maraming salamat guys and ladies for your Menti participation.
Yes.
Sobrang namin
Oo. And naramdaman din namin yung bukas na puso, bukas na isip, bukas na tenga talaga. So nangyari naman yun. So thank you so much for the participation, everyone.
Hey. Sige, so siguro papasend ko na lang kay Gabby din yung questions. So try ko talaga sagutan sa Instagram.
Yes, so please follow Jen on Instagram para makita nyo yung mga answers nila on the on the questions that you sent in on Pigeonhole. Okay, take it away, Daffy.
Thank you. Wala ba kayong paano? Hindi naman kayo nag-screenshot na or group pic kasi
gusto nyo. Okay, wait lang. Let's present to you your certificate and then we can take
okay.
Community. Yeah.
Sige.
Go ahead, Daffy.
So, we have here our certificate of appreciation. This certificate is issued to Jen Horn for generously providing their time and expertise as resource speaker for the webinar Pakikipag-Ugnayan, Creating a Culture of Connection at Work, held on the 13th of March 2024, signed by John Baluyot, Chief Enabling Officer of Positivity and Productivity in the Workplace Incorporated, and Nikki Vergara, Chief Well-being Officer of Positivity and Productivity in the Workplace Incorporated. Thank you so much, Jen.
Thank you so much, Jen.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are still here in our Zoom room, so I will stop sharing first. Ayan, Joyce, if you can take a screenshot of those who are still here, kindly open your cameras. Ayan, para makita naman kayo ni Jen and Cookie. So kanina words nyo lang, ngayon may faces. Yan. So, Joyce, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Okay.
Go ahead,
Alam mo
Joyce.
na pong mag-chat para wala pong matakpan. Okay, taking the picture in 3, 2, 1. Okay, next slide po. Hold your
Live
smile na po.
kaya to.
Ayan, wait lang po. 1, 2, 3, smile. Okay, another one. 1, 2, 3, smile. Ayan, last one po. 1, 2, 3, smile. Yan, okay na po. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Very interesting crowd. We really have academe, may mga from government. Hello. Okay.
Yay. Salamat.
Yes, thank you so much, Jen and Cookie. And for the rest of you, we hope to see you all next week in our next webinar. So una pa lang to for the month of March. So we still have 2 more in the coming week. So next week, we will be joined by David. And then the week after that, we also have Joanne Fillard joining us for our theme, the Positive Leaders Toolkit, the power of positive connections and communications. So just a few reminders. Hindi naman siya reminders, pero invitation for those of you who are joining us for the first time, you can follow us on Facebook. Doon kami usually nagpo-post ng mga announcements namin about the free webinars, our courses, and meron din tayong mga thought leadership posts over on Facebook. And we also have our YouTube channel. So you can access all of our previous webinars in our YouTube channel if you want to rewatch some of the topics that we've already covered. And we are also on Instagram. So don't forget, sinend din namin yung yung link ni Jen. So you can see all of the tama no, Jen, if they access bit.ly Jen Horn, makikita na nila dun lahat ng links of all the opportunities there.
Yes.
Yeah, so again, kung sino hindi pa nakaka-answer, you can scan the QR code that you can see on the form for your evaluation form so that you can claim your e-certificate. So again, thank you so much and see you all next